October 31st. A night when millions of people dress up, collect candy and celebrate. But what if I told you that Halloween has witnessed some of the most disturbing, unexplained and tragic events in modern history? Events so dark that they blur the line between coincidence and something far more sinister. Welcome to Time Vault Chronicles. Tonight we are not talking about legends or folklore. We are talking about real events that happened on Halloween night. Events that will make you think twice before you step outside after dark on October 31st. This is the dark side of Halloween. Some say Halloween is just a harmless celebration. Others believe the veil between our world and something darker truly does thin on this night. What you are about to hear are 5 documented events that occurred on Halloween. Some have explanations. Others remain mysteries to this day. But all of them share one thing in common. They happened on October 31st, and they have never been forgotten. Number 1. The man who poisoned his own son on Halloween and created a legend of fear. Halloween 1974, Pasadena, Texas. 8-year-old Timothy O'Brien went trick-or-treating with his father, Ronald Clark O'Brien, his younger sister, and several other children from the neighborhood. It was supposed to be a normal Halloween night, but Timothy would never see another one. That evening, Ronald gave Timothy and 4 other children Pixie Sticks candy, giant straws filled with sweet, colorful powder that kids loved. Timothy ate his before going to bed. Within hours, he began vomiting violently. He screamed in pain. His parents rushed him to the hospital, but it was too late. Timothy died shortly after midnight. The cause? Cyanide poisoning. The investigation revealed a horrifying truth. Someone had laced the Pixie Sticks with a lethal dose of potassium cyanide. But who would do such a thing? The answer was even more disturbing than anyone imagined. It was Timothy's own father. Ronald Clark O'Brien had taken out large life insurance policies on both of his children just weeks before Halloween. He was drowning in debt and saw murder as his way out. He poisoned the candy himself, hoping to make it look like the work of a random killer targeting trick-or-treaters. He even gave poisoned candy to other children to cover his tracks, though thankfully none of them ate it. O'Brien was arrested, tried, and convicted. The press gave him a nickname that would haunt Halloween forever, the Candy Man. He was executed by lethal injection in 1984, exactly 10 years after he murdered his son. But the damage was done. This single act created a wave of panic across America. Parents became terrified of Halloween candy. The myth of strangers poisoning or hiding razors in candy exploded, even though documented cases are extremely rare. To this day, many parents inspect their children's candy because of what Ronald Clark O'Brien did on Halloween night in 1974. Timothy O'Brien's death was not caused by a supernatural force or an ancient curse. It was caused by human evil, and that perhaps is the most terrifying thing of all. Number 2. A 9-year-old girl vanished on Halloween, and her case remains unsolved. Halloween 1973, Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. 9-year-old Lisa Marie French was excited. She had her costume ready, her candy bag in hand, and permission from her mother to go trick-or-treating with a friend in their quiet neighborhood. It was early evening, still light outside. What could go wrong? Lisa and her friend went door to door collecting candy and laughing, but at some point they separated. Lisa's friend went home. Lisa decided to visit just a few more houses alone. She was last seen around 6:45 p.m., walking near Compretz Bridge on Highway 41. She was wearing a black and white witch costume. Witnesses reported seeing her talking to someone in a blue vehicle. Then she was gone. Her parents reported her missing that night. A massive search began immediately. Police officers, volunteers, and tracking dogs scoured the area. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. But Lisa Marie French was nowhere to be found. Then, in November 1974, more than a year after her disappearance, 2 hunters made a grim discovery in a wooded area near Fond du Lac. They found human remains. Dental records confirmed the worst. It was Lisa. The official cause of death could not be determined due to the condition of the remains, but investigators believe she was murdered shortly after her abduction. Despite an extensive investigation, no one was ever charged with Lisa's murder. Over the decades, Several suspects have been investigated. Some have died. Others have been cleared. But the truth about what happened to Lisa Marie French on Halloween night 1973 remains a mystery. Her case is one of the most haunting unsolved murders in Wisconsin history. Every year on Halloween, investigators receive new tips. Her family still seeks answers. And in Fond du Lac, Lisa's story serves as a dark reminder that even in the safest neighborhoods, on the most innocent of nights, danger can be lurking just out of sight. Lisa Marie French went out to collect candy. She never came home, and no one knows why. Number 3. A bizarre disaster that locals say still haunts Boston every Halloween. This one takes us back to January 15th, 1919, Boston, Massachusetts. A massive storage tank holding over 2 million gallons of molasses suddenly burst, unleashing a deadly wave of thick, sticky syrup through the streets of the North End neighborhood. The wave was 25 feet high and traveled at 35 miles per hour, crushing buildings, trapping people, and drowning victims in suffocating sweetness. 21 people died. Over 150 were injured. It was one of the strangest disasters in American history. But what does this have to do with Halloween? According to local legend, the spirits of those who died in the Great Molasses Flood are restless, and on Halloween night they return. For over a century, residents and visitors to the North End have reported strange occurrences on October 31st near the site of the disaster, which is now a public park. People claim to smell molasses in the air, even though there is no logical source for the scent. Others report hearing voices, screams, and the sound of rushing liquid when there is nothing there. Some say they have seen ghostly figures covered in dark, sticky substance wandering the streets at night, only to vanish when approached. Paranormal investigators have recorded unexplained cold spots, electromagnetic anomalies, and mysterious shadows in the area, particularly around Halloween. Skeptics dismiss these reports as urban legend, suggesting that the molasses smell is simply residue that seeped into the ground and occasionally rises to the surface on warm days. But believers argue that the sheer trauma and sudden violence of the flood left an imprint on the location, and that Halloween, with its thin veil between worlds, allows those lost souls to briefly return. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the Great Molasses Flood is a real tragedy. And every Halloween, the people of Boston remember those who died in one of the most bizarre and horrifying ways imaginable. And some say, if you visit Langone Park on Halloween night and listen carefully, you might hear the echoes of that terrible day still lingering in the darkness. Number 4. The night nature itself turned Halloween into a nightmare. October 31st, 1991. The upper Midwest of the United States was preparing for a normal Halloween. Children were putting on costumes. Parents were getting ready to take their kids trick-or-treating. Weather forecasts predicted some rain, maybe a little wind. Nothing serious. But nature had other plans. What began as a typical autumn storm system rapidly intensified into one of the most powerful and unexpected blizzards in American history. Within hours, the Halloween blizzard of 1991 unleashed its fury across Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and surrounding states. Temperatures plummeted. Rain turned to ice, then to heavy, blinding snow. Winds reached hurricane force, with gusts over 100 miles per hour in some areas. Snowfall rates exceeded 2 inches per hour. Visibility dropped to 0, and it all happened on Halloween night, when thousands of children and families were out on the streets. Panic set in. Trick-or-treaters became stranded. Families could not make it home. Cars were abandoned on highways. The storm was so sudden and so violent that many people were caught completely unprepared. In Minneapolis, the famous Metrodome Stadium, home of the Minnesota Vikings, collapsed under the weight of the snow. Its inflatable roof could not withstand the pressure. By the time the storm ended, 22 people were dead. Some froze to death in their vehicles. Others suffered heart attacks while shoveling snow. Thousands more were injured. Over 100,000 livestock animals perished in the freezing temperatures. The economic damage exceeded hundreds of millions of dollars. Meteorologists later called it a perfect storm, a rare convergence of weather conditions that created a monster. But for those who lived through it, the Halloween blizzard felt like something supernatural. How could a beautiful autumn day turn into a deadly winter nightmare in just a few hours? On Halloween, of all nights. Some believe it was simply bad luck. Others wonder if there was something more. Native American legends speak of powerful spirits associated with the land and the changing seasons. Could Halloween, a night when the boundary between worlds is thinnest, have played a role in unleashing such devastation? We will never know for certain. But one thing is clear. For millions of people in the Midwest, Halloween 1991 was not about ghosts and goblins. It was about survival. And the memory of that night still haunts the region every October 31st. Number 5. The world's greatest magician died on Halloween after predicting his own death. Harry Houdini. The name alone conjures images of impossible escapes, death-defying stunts, and a man who seemed to cheat death itself. But on October 31st, 1926, death finally caught up with him, and the circumstances surrounding his demise are as mysterious as any trick he ever performed. Houdini was not just a magician, he was a skeptic, a debunker of fraudulent mediums and psychics who claimed to speak with the dead. He had made many enemies in the spiritualist community, people who believed he was disrupting their connection to the other side. Some even claimed they would use supernatural means to destroy him. In the weeks before his death, Houdini was performing in Montreal. After one of his shows, a college student named J. Gordon Whitehead visited him backstage. Without warning, Whitehead asked if it was true that Houdini could withstand any blow to the stomach. Before Houdini could properly brace himself, Whitehead punched him multiple times in the abdomen with full force. Houdini was known for his incredible physical conditioning and had previously performed acts where people struck his stomach to demonstrate his strength. But this time, he was caught off guard. He felt immediate pain but continued with his scheduled performances. Over the next few days, the pain worsened. He developed a fever. By the time he sought medical attention, it was too late. His appendix had ruptured, leading to peritonitis, a deadly infection. On October 31st, 1926, Halloween night, Harry Houdini died at the age of 52. His final words, spoken to his brother, were, "I am tired of fighting. I guess this thing is going to get me." But the mystery does not end there. Before his death, Houdini made a pact with his wife, Bess. He told her that if it was possible to communicate from beyond the grave, he would send her a secret message that only they knew. For 10 years after his death, Bess held seances every Halloween trying to reach him. The message never came. Some believe Houdini's death was simply a tragic accident, a ruptured appendix caused by blunt trauma. Others suggest it was murder, orchestrated by spiritualists who wanted revenge. And still others believe that Houdini's death on Halloween, a night associated with the dead, was no coincidence at all. Perhaps he had challenged forces beyond human understanding, and on that one night of the year when the veil is thinnest, those forces finally claimed him. To this day, magicians and fans around the world hold seances on Halloween night, hoping to contact Harry Houdini. So far he has remained silent, but every October 31st people still wonder, is he truly gone? Or is he somewhere on the other side, watching, waiting, preparing for his greatest escape yet? 5 events, 5 mysteries, 5 reasons why Halloween is more than just a night of costumes and candy. From a father who poisoned his own son, to a little girl who vanished and was never found, to disasters both natural and supernatural, to the death of a man who claimed he could escape anything. These are not legends. These are real events that happened on October 31st, and they remind us that sometimes the most terrifying things are not the stories we tell, but the truths we try to forget. So tonight, as you walk the streets, as you knock on doors, as you celebrate this ancient and mysterious holiday, remember this. Halloween has always been a night when the impossible feels possible, when the line between life and death becomes blurred, and when the darkness holds secrets we may never fully understand. What do you think? Are these events just tragic coincidences, or is there something more to Halloween night? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this darker journey into history, subscribe to Time Vault Chronicles and turn on notifications. Share this with someone brave enough to hear the truth. And remember, the past is always watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and never underestimate the power of October 31st. Happy Halloween, if you dare.